Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on February 9th, 2026, at approximately 8 p.m. PST. Now, I've made it my life's calling to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. I build myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day to day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies I guide virtually every decision by. Now, with this in mind, I know these tools will work for you because they continue to work for me and have literally worked for thousands of other people over the years with varying degrees of success, depending on your own personal efforts. Now, before we get into things, swap back over to the right screen so I can see who's going on, what's going on. And I do not need that. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, to start with, before we get into it, definitely tip my hat to Storm. He is our primary moderator in the background, and he's there to keep the tech running, which for me may be a challenge with me sitting on this end, and to make certain that problem children are outside the chat room before they become serious problems. And rest assured, for those of you that decide you're going to try and create a problem, first and foremost, my moderators have been asked to remove you. It's not them being pushy or them being bully. It's me being a little less tolerant than some of you would like. That said, thank you very much for that, Storm, and the rest of the moderators. Now, we have, following him, we have Ellie Moon. She is our primary moderator in the chat room. She helps keep the conversation going, asking questions when they stall, and doing the most important thing. For me anyway, she keeps an eye on my personal health to try and make certain that I don't drop dead while I'm on the screen. Although, in all fairness, I haven't tried that one yet. I've had vertigo, I've had, blood pressure spikes, but I've yet to have an actual full-blown artery on air. I don't think that's something my wife is going to be very happy with if I do that.
I will hit you.
Yeah, the last person you got to hit me broke two of my ribs. I kid you not. She asked the lead nurse to do something to me that she couldn't do. So the head nurse turned around and broke two of my ribs. Which, granted, Kira's not capable of doing at this point. At least not without an extra hammer. Now, Kira is another moderator. My wife, my editor-in-chief, you name it, she fits that bill. Okay, but she's also here to keep the conversation going, watch out for problem children, and spot the questions I've overlooked. So with that in mind, absolutely do me a favor. If you've got a question, put it in all caps so I can find the thing. Okay, like it or not, my eyes do not work as well as I'd like them to. Now, let's pull that down. Okay, now we go back up to the top here, and we have, right off the bat, we have Eternity Eternal is in with the gold. How you doing, Eternity? For the last week or so, maybe longer, time is not my friend in tracking. But you've been pulling off the gold every day. And, I really do appreciate that. Next we have the call I got the other day was, and for me, really beneficial. Primarily because what happens. Oh, there we go. Primarily because what happens is confirmation of what I'm looking at does encourage me to carry on. Like I've told all of you, I have fought severe depression for literally the last 4 years. It's been really bad. Then we go in with bronze. Where is bronze?
Sorry, I think you meant silver. What's next?
No, because Eternity got gold, and Cowie got silver.
Oh, wow. My apologies.
Nope, not a problem.
Kitty Caddywhack gets bronze, and Operation gets honorable mention.
Oh, okay. And that's what I was looking for, is where Kitty Caddywhack went. There she is. And Kitty Caddywhack, as just stated, you are in with the bronze. I hope things are going well. You know, I know things for you have been hectic, to say the least. And then we scroll all the way down, and we are looking at Operation in with honorable mention. How you doing, Operation? Really nice seeing you. You know, I gotta say, I see a lot of people, both in a day in the office and in positive perceptions. You know, but to be frank, yes, I named a day in the office. Of course, I come in here, I use that time to literally get paperwork dealt with that I've been putting off. It's working like a charm. You know, and Woo, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Yeah, Woo, the Woo has arrived. You know, you get all the medals. Yeah, that would be tin, antimony, aluminum, you know, all the extras. Because, sorry, guys, the reality is, you know, I take a look at it. Oh, he gets all the medals and breaks bread with everyone. As long as you're breaking bread with everyone and not on everyone, we should be in good shape. Now, that said, today we are looking at financial manipulation. This is an art form in and of itself. Okay. Most of you have been behind the 8 ball with not enough money coming in. Okay. And still a lot of months left over. Now, there are a number of things that I've taken to doing, not the least of which is going, I got time. You know, I used to procrastinate doing things. Now I just don't bother doing them. No, this does not work. Rest assured, that's a disaster waiting to happen. But when we look at financial manipulation, first thing you got to realize is you've got to know what your interest rates are in your bank as well as on your cards. Now, much as I absolutely agree that saving is necessary, okay, I will tell you, saving in place of paying your bills off, your higher interest rate bills, is extremely counterproductive. Donna Z, how you doing? Glad you could join us. You know, one thing I did find is this. Sometimes, and you do have to look in, do your own research, because in my end, it's wonderful. I've talked to my bank manager and got bank accounts modified for the branch in order to pull off what I was looking for. Okay. One thing is for absolute certainty. If your savings account, the account that you personally are utilizing to try and save money in, if it has a standard fee, okay, doesn't matter what it is, if you've got a fee at all on an actual savings account, okay, it's not a savings account, okay, because if there's any fee that is on it, now I should clarify, if you have a savings account that has a static fee, no matter what you do, it's not a savings account. If your savings account has a statement on it, no fee unless you use it for withdrawal, that kind of savings account needs a little trick. Don't pull the money out. Now, it won't make a lot of money. I'll tell you that right now. But you got to remember, no matter how much money the bank is paying you for interest, they're making triple to quadruple the amount that they're paying you. You can virtually guarantee it. But your concern should not be whether the bank is making money. Your concern should be, are you making money? Now, I will tell you, there's a lot of people that go, oh, let's get involved in the stock market or cryptocurrency. To me, this is a suicide run. Okay. But if you go to, if you're in Canada and you get GICs or CDs in the States. This is something that won't make an incredible amount of interest, but it will make interest. Okay. As a matter of fact, that's something I gotta go and get so I get started. But you take a look at what you're doing. Now, for me, for instance, this is one of those things that makes absolutely perfect sense, at least from my end. The grocery store that I've got now, you know as well as I do not utilize the internet very much. But the grocery store that I use, okay, I phone them up, and for $5, they will do all my shopping and drop it off on my doorstep. Now, I got news for you. You're not going down to the grocery store and spending only $5 in gas or in time. Okay, so I phone them up, and now what I've done is got my grocery shopping done, and all it cost me was $5. Okay, this is called utilizing. This is leveraging your money against your effort. Now, let's not forget that when we're talking about money, okay, when we're talking about manipulating it, money is not just about the dollar. It's also about the amount of energy you're pushing. Okay. I was just taking a look at that. Sorry, just looking up to make sure I didn't miss something.
Yep.
But when you start looking at that, if you can get your grocery shopping done and shipped to your door, you save time, you save money. Okay, this is not a question of being lazy. This is a question of really manipulating things in your favor without hurting anybody else. Because let's face it, the people doing the shopping are hired by the store. Okay, now the store already pays them a living wage. The $5 that you get charged for delivery, I don't know what happens to it, to be honest with you. But you're paying $5 for convenience. And I'll tell you, in the 4 hours it would have taken me to do the $700 shopping spree the other day, okay, it didn't bother me. The other thing you got to remember is, and this is one of the reasons why you interact with your family if you get along with them. If you don't get along with them, avoiding them might be in your best interest. Okay, so if you get along with them, absolutely split the cost of grocery shopping. You can get a better deal on buying bulk. That's how the grocery stores make their money. They buy bulk and bring in literally, hundreds of pounds or thousands of pounds, depending on the grocery store, of food. And then they parcel it out. Now, you can do the same thing utilizing a cooperative effort with your neighbors or with your family. Take your pick. Okay. The trick is taking a look at it and going, okay, I've got to make this work. Now, I don't know about you. I'm on a pretty limited budget. Okay. But what I did find was something that my parents taught me when I was a kid. Okay. When we are looking about manipulating money, okay, financial manipulation, we can very easily swap that over to energy manipulation. Finances are simply another form of energy, and something you got to remember. Okay. And I'm going to give you the answer. It's going to scare you if I have to give you the answer. But which is easier to move? A digital $10 bill or a cow? An actual physical cow. Okay. And if you have to figure that one out for longer than a nanosecond, there may be something wrong with your math. Okay. Or maybe it's just your critical thinking. The reality is this. Okay. When you take a look at what's coming in, I will tell you, unless you have an absolutely static income, as in every month you get $1,000 or whatever the number. Okay, every month it's got to come in, number one, at the same time. Well, number one, it's got to be the same amount. Okay, every month. If it is not a stable number, budgeting doesn't work. Take a look at governments. Take a look at corporations. Take a look at your family and friends. Any that don't have an absolutely static income are not producing balanced budgets. They're producing guesswork. Okay, but you'll notice that all of this guesswork they're doing, they track what they've spent the money on. And then after tracking what they spent the money on, then they adjust it. Now, here's the kicker. If you don't have the budget and you track what you're doing to start with, you automatically will start seeing where you're overspending. Okay, and this is the thing about knowing what you're up to. This is why I said it's absolutely critical. Go through, if you haven't done it already, do this. Okay, take a look at all of your bills, whether they are living expenses, as in your rent, lease, whatever, power, all of this. One of the things that we have to remember, you get your living expenses to sort it out. Do understand, in today's world, you almost have to have a credit card. Now, do not get me wrong. There are some of you out there that don't use a credit card. This is not me going, oh, get a credit card. They're necessary. Okay, they are convenient, but they're only useful if you use them properly and don't pay interest on them. Okay, and there's a way to do that. This is one of the reasons why I'm dealing with financial tips. The real trick to it, I've made a lot of really, really, shall we say, stupid maneuvers. Okay, now to be clear, true ignorance means whatever happened, you did not get the message. You didn't figure it out. Okay, try as you might, it hasn't locked in. Okay, stupidity simply means you knew better and you did it anyway. Okay, now absolutely, you've got your living expenses, you've got your interest accruing debts, and you've got the debts that you borrowed money from somebody. And I strongly encourage you, especially from a karmic standpoint, even if said somebody has told you, don't worry about paying it back, work to pay it back. Okay, that is if they've loaned you. Okay, if it is a gift, that's why they call it a gift. Okay, also known as gift. Get it free today. Okay, if somebody gives you a gift, do not bother trying to pay it back. Okay, and frankly, do yourself a favor and the person that's offering, do your best not to try and talk them out of it. Okay, everybody has been taught taking charity from somebody is a bad thing. It says you're less of a person. I got news for you. Taking charity from somebody may mean you get to keep a roof over your head. Maybe it means you get to eat. I'm not sure, but I personally am fond of both. Okay, at one point I was way too fond of getting something to eat. Net result, I also had to turn around and figure out how to drop the weight. And yeah, that was effort too. Not to worry, yes, I'm theoretically diabetic, so I'm drinking sugar to make sure I stay that way. No.
I will hit you.
What? Look at the bright side. I'm not using the other type of Coke anymore.
That's true. Very, very true.
But when you're looking at handling your money, you've got to know what's coming in. You don't have to know to the dime how much you're going to spend this month. I will tell you, trying to keep tabs on that, if you don't have a static budget, like a static money coming in, honestly, you can spend all the time you'd like setting up a budget and guessing at what's coming. To people you trust that are doing it well, okay, that are already handling their finances properly. For those of you that have kids, when you're working on your family finances, draw the kids into the office, show them what you're doing. Okay, that's option one. Option two, go to a bank and talk to the financial advisor. They are theoretically paid to help you do that. Okay, to help you get things set up. If that is not an option, because sometimes you'll run into a financial advisor in the bank that's about as useful as a screen door in a submarine. Only the screen door at least will keep the fish out. Okay, option three, give me a call. I kid you not. Yes, I've been bankrupt twice, but I also figured out how to get out of it and how to avoid it. Okay, this said, I know almost every day, by the end of the day, exactly what my bank account is looking like. Not by going in and checking my bank account, but tracking what I've been spending and making absolutely certain that I know how much is coming in and going out. This is something, like I said, you go into a financial advisor, they'll charge you hundreds of dollars an hour. Now, I don't know about you, but I look at it this way. If I'm already struggling with money, where am I going to get the hundreds of dollars to get an accountant to show me how to track things? And besides that, they've got this brilliant idea. I'll show you how to do it. You're going to pay me through the nose. And then I'm going to show you, I'm going to make sure it all happens. But I'm not going to teach you how to do it. And the reason they do that is because as long as you're relying on them, they've got a meal ticket. Okay. In my case, when people phone me up, I literally will tell them, here's how to make it happen. Don't take this personally, whatever you do. Hopefully I never hear from you again regarding the same reason. Okay. If I've done my job right, you walk away able to actually track what your money's doing. Now, yes, I use Excel, but I still I still find paper works quite nicely. Hey, Bueno, how we doing? Glad you could join us. I do not believe I've seen you in here before, but am pleased you are that you've dropped in. Hopefully this is the beginning of a new trend. The reality of it is what I do here is free. Okay. I don't charge for positive perceptions, a day in the office, or when I'm on Spaced Out Radio or anywhere else. I don't charge them for it. Okay. And the reason for that is most of you can't afford it. Okay. And most of that problem is because you weren't taught to start with, just like I wasn't. Okay. When I was a youngster, my parents made one mistake in my eyes. They never included me in the manipulation of finances while I was at home. So, of course, if you're not teaching your kids at home, what you're actually doing is, and I mean this literally, you are condemning them to have to figure it out on their own. Now, I'm about to be 63 in a few months here. Okay. I've spent most of my life fighting finances. Okay. Because the reality of it is this. Okay. I was never taught how to handle them, so I've learned it the hard way. And all I'm aiming at doing at this point is showing you how to avoid the same dense maneuver as I did. And I will tell you, one of the biggest moves I made were absolutely bizarre. Okay. I don't like cooking. So I lived in restaurants. I still spend a lot of time there. Okay. But when you think about it, can't track time, can't track space, and can't track taste. Kitchen is not fun. Okay. But the reality of it is that from the get-go, if you learn how to take money, and I made a living out of in my own pocket, borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, okay, to make certain that I keep my head above water. Now, I fought right to the edge of a bankruptcy before. I've gone twice. But here's the funny kicker to it. Okay, while I've been doing this, I've been keeping my head above water. And one of the biggest tricks to it is this. When you look at your bills, okay, there are 3 bills that have to come off the top. Whatever is coming in, take 1% off the top of what comes in before you do a thing. Put that in your mad money. That is what you use. We're talking only $1 out of every $100. Okay, you take that $1, okay, and you put that in your pocket. That's what you buy coffee with. That's what you go out to dinner with. Okay, but you put one in your partner's pocket as well, if they are living in your house. Okay, if they aren't, the $1 goes into your pocket only. Okay, now the reason you do this is simple. Okay, by putting the money in your pocket first, what you end up with is you change the energy of what you're getting, of what you're working for, from I'm working to pay my bills to I'm working and paying my bills. And I'll tell you, the stress level around your house will collapse. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research. Now, where are we here? Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, Bueno's just saying, my wife takes care of the money. I simply get an allowance. And that works great. I do encourage you to sit down with her and figure out how she's doing it, even though she's doing it fine. Okay. The reason I say that is because by both of you knowing what happens, I look down the road. Okay. And right now, Bueno, your wife takes care of the finances. This is fantastic. But I'm not seeing anything negative. Okay. But what are you going to do when she's handled all the finances and heaven forbid she drops dead? Okay. The reality of it is that you've got to get your head on straight. Okay. And leave her handling it. Absolutely. Okay. Now, that's the first thing that comes off. The second bill that gets paid irreplaceably, if there is no question, get your rent, your lease, your mortgage, whatever it is, get the payment done for what is putting a roof over your head. Yeah, LA goes, we do bills and purchasing together. 0 money fights in 25 years. Oh, you got to do it. You got to do something about that in LA. Get a handful of dollar bills or $2 or $5 bills and throw them at each other. It's a great way to have a money fight. Just a thought.
What an odd image.
Yeah, but it's a money fight.
Yeah, it's a money fight.
At least I didn't say grab loonies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Those would hurt.
Mm-hmm. Only if you hit.
Toonies would be worse.
Yes. And by the way, loonies and toonies are $1 coins and $2 coins up here in Canada. In your guys' cases, don't use 50-cent piece or silver dollars. Bad idea. Okay, hurt like a mother. Yeah.
Lynn.
That's terrible, Lynn.
That's horrible.
You know, but number 2 bill to pay immediately, okay, is whatever bill it is, whatever title it's got, to keep a roof over your head. Now, here's the one that confuses the daylights out of me. I talk to people that are behind the ball, the 8 ball, with all of their utilities. And I kid you not, it's almost invariable. Oh, I got to get my cable paid. I know my power is about to be cut off, but I can't be without my cable. Guys, think about that for a nanosecond. If the power is cut off, your cable is useless. Just a thought. Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh.
Uh-oh. Yeah. LA, that's using martial arts, and that's not nice. I mean, it's effective, you know, but those bills must be paid to start with. And I mean, granted, do what you will. Let's face it, if you don't pay your bills on time, it's not going to have any impact on my income. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm putting all this information into books. Yes, I intend on making money off of it. Okay. But the reality of it is this. Once you've got the information, you can actually work with it. You know, the hardest part to deal with. Now, when we're talking about manipulating money, I'm not known for fair. No doubt, LA. You know, one of the things about manipulating your money, if you've got a credit card that's clear, okay, and it's clear enough, it's got the room on it, even if you've only got $50 left on your credit card, left room, if you've got the $50 in the bank, okay, your bank won't make a lot of interest. I'll guarantee that. Okay. But if you've got the money in your bank and you've got room on the credit card, and bear in mind, this requires definitive focus. Okay. And discipline. You take the credit card and you use the credit card to spend the $50. Don't go over the balance that you've got available in the bank. Now, most credit cards, most lines of credit have a 21-day, well, lines of credit are a different thing, but most credit cards have a 21-day grace period. So you you spend the credit card, and 14 days after you bought something, pay that off in its entirety. Okay. Now there's a whole bunch of things to go with that. And yes, I am writing articles that will be included in the free magazine. Okay. On how to deal with an overloaded balance and how to make it smaller. Because there's a lot of little tricks I'm not actually dealing with right now.
Just a quick note on the grace period. For instance, two of the credit cards that I use, their grace period is only 10 days. So you'll want to, again, on this one, you want to do your research, do your homework where it comes to getting the cards, and make sure you pay attention to whether or not there are fees, what the grace period is, if any, and really keep that in mind while you're implementing these methodologies and techniques. So, yeah.
I'm just looking at this. Bueno is letting us know. Somebody said to me once, keep 10% of my money. Keep 10% of my money you have coming in and don't spend it. And you'll have money to do things when they come up. You know, and absolutely, this is one of the things that you look at. Okay. The reality of it is, this is why it is so important to have an actual savings account. Okay. Now, what you do there's something else you got to look at. Now, people have told me all sorts of things about what can work and what can't. Okay. Now, Donna, Donna's saying her credit card is almost maxed out, which I feel for you. Rest assured, because I've got lots of them that are maxed out. But what you do there, and I'm not going to tell you don't spend them, but can I ask you a direct question? Well, obviously I can. If you got more than one credit card, take one credit card that's got room. Okay. Put all the rest of them aside. Do not cancel any credit card. It goes really bad for your credit rating. Okay. What do we got here?
Yeah, and Keith is right on that one. It'll mess with your credit age if you cancel, which is the second score that they take into account after debt ratio.
Now, if you've got more than one, I learned this from a client of mine that had, I think.
What was that?
Did that talk?
Nope. That was interesting.
Yeah, it was. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, I had a client that had, I think she said 26 credit cards. Okay. Now, I'm not aiming for that, but I will be getting more. Now, what she did was she said, okay, number one, don't cancel them. But if you're having trouble with impulse buying, take all the credit cards that you can, take them, okay, just a simple recipe card or a piece of light cardboard. Put the credit card inside the recipe card. Okay, there is a reason for this, but you fold it over, you put that whole thing into a Ziploc bag. Okay, now the cardboard is to protect the card. Do not put the cards in side by side. Make sure each one is individually wrapped. You put them into a freezer bag, into a airtight sealable bag. Take those cards, put them into a bucket. Take that whole bag, put them into a gallon bucket, fill it with water. Now, you've done two things. You protected the card, took it out of the option of utilizing it. Okay, and this is if you're having trouble with impulse buying, and a lot of people do. Okay, I used to. Now I look at it and go, I'm not impulse buying. I plan exactly what I'm doing. I still play both ends against the middle, but that is 60 years of training. But you take them, put them in a bucket of water. Freeze the bucket of water. Solid. Now, here's the critical part for you. When you go to pull them out, now you still keep making your payments, okay? But when you go to pull them out, you cannot thaw them by putting them into either a microwave or heating up the bucket, because you'll destroy the credit cards. Okay, you're going to have to leave it sit until they completely thaw out, and you're looking at just straight water. Bueno goes, 12-step program has helped me too, Keith. The ironic part is every program I've ever seen works. Every program that is a 12-step program works like a charm. Okay. And it's not a question of telling anybody anything. It's a question of simply understanding what you're up to, which is why I've also got a book out that I'm also working on, a book called literally Enhanced Numerology, because the 12 works like a charm. Okay. Now, one of the things, where are we here? Yeah. LA goes, be sure to use it once in a while and pay it off. Yeah, absolutely. The fact of the matter is that as your cards are being used, if you've got ones that are close, remember I said you use one primary and the rest of them you contain? Those other ones, let's say you spend $5 on one. A week and a half later, because you've already got a balance on them. A week later, don't just pay the $5. Pay more than what you spent. Okay. Now, there is a neat little problem here. Everybody I know of that runs into problems financially, the first thing a financial advisor will tell you is cut back on your spending. This is brilliant, except for the fact there's only so far you can cut back. Okay. And this is why you have the other option. Find a way to increase your income. Sometimes that boils down to do your shopping with a friend. Okay. I always look at what I've got coming in, but I look at it, it came in, track where it went. Now I can look back on it and say, this is what I spent it on. That's how I figured out when I really put my mind to it and went, I'm cooking $400 a month in a restaurant. Now, $400 a month can literally, handled properly, can literally stock your house and overload it. And in no time, you'll have between 3 and 6 months stock in your house. But keep in mind, when you're talking about filling your pantry, we're talking about non-perishables. Now, I hate to tell you this. No, I don't. Canned food has an expiry date. Okay, and I don't mean the one on the bottom of the can. Most of the time, those are understated. But they will eventually go bad. If you buy something like, for instance, your kidney beans. If you buy kidney beans that are dried, they will keep forever as long as they stay dry. Okay, and yes, my wife will tell you, if you were to ask her, and so I'll tell you anyway, we bought several cans of kidney beans. I've got a bag of of dried ones. I did that because I still got to figure out how to make things work from the naturopathic standpoint. And I'm doing a lot of research on that right now, which, by the way, is about the only thing in my life I've ever done research on. But what you'll find, where are we here? Bueno goes ancient food technology. Absolutely. The funny part there is that's what's being suppressed. Oh, you can't, don't buy fresh vegetables. Buy vitamin supplements. I'm telling you, this is dense. Okay. In my opinion, it's absolutely a dense idea. But you do what you will. Okay. I will tell you, natural foods, yes, if you're taking supplements, you're getting a higher concentrate. But the reality is, if you're eating healthy over time, you'll live longer. Because what they don't tell you about any pill that mankind makes is they throw a bunch of stuff into it that your body doesn't require. Okay, I can't begin to tell you what they put in it because I don't know. Okay, and in a sense, I'd be afraid to find out because I'll tell you, I'm thinking it just isn't really that. It's not necessarily good. Okay.
Yeah, and think about it too, like with capsules, you not only of course you have some of the substance that they say is in the capsule, but you got your fillers, but you also have whatever it is that makes up the capsule itself, and you don't always know what goes into that.
The nice part about the big, and I go here because of the fact that so many people, so many people go, oh, big pharma's the problem. Big pharma is why, and I'm probably the only person you're going to hear say this for a long time. Big pharma is one of the few corporations that'll tell you, at least they're being honest with you. They'll tell you flat out, here's this itty bitty thing this pill will do for you. Here is a stack of stuff that it'll do to kill you. Now, please buy my stuff. If you go out and buy it, can we really blame pharmacies? Okay, you're the one doing the purchasing. It's like an alcoholic that blames their partner for them being the heavy drinker. Okay, and I'm telling you, alcoholics, I was one. And there was not a soul that could have forced me to do it without ending up in the hospital. I found out I drink plenty of water. I drink 30 to 40 cups of coffee minimum. but I also drink it very weak. But here's the thing. Yes, leafy greens are important there, whoa. They really are. And plenty of water. But here's the thing you got to remember. The human body, for all those of you that are vegan or vegetarian, no problem. Live your life your way. I'm not saying you have to do it either way. Okay. Donna, I can absolutely recommend one, and I'll give you that in just half a moment. Donna's looking for a multivitamin vendor that I've found that may be beneficial. Okay. But what I found was, and I forgot where I was. I thought it was good. Do you remember where I was? No.
Sorry.
Oh.
Blonde. What do you expect?
Oh, there we go. Leafy greens are important, but we got to remember the human, the corporeal genome is carnivorous, or more to the point, omnivorous. You've got to have your red meat. Whether you believe it or not, whether you listen to the vegetarians or not, that's your call. But I will tell you, take a look at how the human body works. Okay, it requires meat and vegetables. But, and I did find when you talk to diabetic technicians, they actually have a diet that is reasonably good. Okay, look into it. Do your own research. Now, I'm heavy into the carnivore side, but that's my way of living. Okay, now, go back up here. Donna C., you were asking, can you recommend a good multivitamin vendor? Absolutely, and here's the test for you. It was one that my father used. Okay, my father, he used to buy Centrum. Okay, but what he did, and do this yourself to double check it. Okay, he took a couple of Centrum tablets and set them in a glass of water. Didn't drink them to start with, he just set them in a glass of water. If the vitamin dissolves with just water, it's a good start. Okay, now the only one I know of that does that is Centrum. Okay, I don't personally use a multivitamin. Okay, I use a mixture of spices. And, and honestly, I've done this because it's helped my heart. And given the number of times I've dropped dead, this is probably a good thing. Not the dropping dead thing. That's just inconvenient.
Yeah, and if Centrum is a brand name specifically, which I personally haven't heard of it, I'm from the States. So if you're still looking, if you're looking for it and you can't find it if you're in the States, Google Centrum alternatives and see if you might be able to find some close alternatives for it. I've had to do that with some things that I could only find in Canada when I was still living in the States.
How'd you do on the Twinkie hunt?
I didn't, because I don't like Twinkies. Twinkies still exist.
Yes, they do.
So there you go.
And that's one of the few foods that doesn't die. By the way, I don't necessarily recommend that as a part of your diet, but I do enjoy them personally. Cowie goes, I tried.
Oh.
Now, I'm not sure how that's pronounced. Of course, my eyes are screwed up. So, looks like it says shillate. Interesting texture, just like Rotar. Cowie, I gotta ask, what in tarnation were you doing eating Rotar? This is the same kind of comment that I've always found fascinating. When people that don't like smokers go, kissing a smoker is like kissing a dirty ashtray. I'm like, what genius turned around and kissed a dirty ashtray? Like, where did they find this out? It's just a thought. Now, the nice part about it, when you're looking at food, at spices and what have you, I will tell you this, and we went a little sideways there. Yes, pure spices they're much more intense, they're better for you. But frankly, when you're dealing with spices, you can still buy the dollar store variety. Again, you can't necessarily afford the top shelf. Okay, many of you can't even reach the top shelf. I mean, the reality is I've run into that problem myself. But, yeah, LA goes, I make stuff like that myself. Or Storm does, Twinkies. It's a lot healthier, but we cook. Not everyone does. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm only learning how to cook now. And we're down to the 10-minute mark. Thank you so much for that, LA. Manipulating money boils down to making certain you're spending wisely. Impulse buying will get you in serious trouble and in a real hurry. Okay, like I said, bar none. Number one, 1% off the top of your paycheck goes into your pocket for mad money. If you've got a partner you live with, I don't care what you call them, wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, concubine, call them what you will. Okay, if they live with you, you give 1% to you and 1% to the other person. Bear in mind, if there's a second income, same thing happens. Okay, now, with that said, first bill, that's the first bill that gets paid. Second one is the bill, whatever you call it, mortgage, lease, rent, doesn't matter. Whatever keeps a roof over your head. Make that one guaranteed your second bill. Third one is your power, because all the rest of them are dead in the water without it. Whoa, that's terrible. Woo goes, I call her, yes, Masa. Okay. I had a friend, and I had a friend years ago. He was walking through the mall, and it was right when Roots came out. And he said something, and a big biker friend of his just slapped him on the shoulder. Well, this friend of mine hits the mall in the middle of the day, up around noon. He starts screaming while he's riding on the ground, covering his head, going, don't beat me, Masa. Don't beat me. Don't beat me. I be good, Toby. Don't beat me, Masa. Well, I'll tell you, this straight-laced biker just about died.
Oh, dear.
Okay. But those are the three bills that have to be paid, before anything else. Because I'll tell you, if you don't, you're in trouble. Now, I will be covering more financial things as we go along. That's what Monday's all about. If you've got a question, okay, and I didn't cover it today, probably the case, absolutely drop me a line. I'll make a point of getting to it.
Yeah, and Keith's contact information, I think is up at the top.
I don't know if it's up at the top. Yeah, well, sort of.
Pinned somewhere.
If you go to the link at the top of the stream, it says buymeacoffee.com. Okay, /InnerVoiceJ. That will show you how to get a hold of me. Okay. Or just drop me a line at rkeithandrews at yahoo.com. Either one will get you to me. Okay. And absolutely, drop me a line. I will make certain that we cover that question as soon as we can get to it. Now, let me just quickly double check. Tomorrow, we are looking at what? We are looking at, there we go. Where are we? That is January. Let's go back to February, shall we? That might be an idea. Now, what we are going to look at, there we are. Tomorrow, okay, which is Tuesday, we are going to look at social. We're going to look at the social side. Get to know your neighbor. Why? We're going to show you and we're going to explain to you why that is so imperative in today's world. Okay. Now, with that said, I do want to say thank you so very much for sharing your time with us tonight. Really do appreciate it. I will be back again tomorrow. And I'll also be there at 4 p.m. PST for a day in the office. absolutely drop in, say boo. We will be here tomorrow. So until then, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.